Can I just yell at everyone? Can you hear me? Yeah, okay, cool, because I talk with my hands. Hello, I'm Jeremy. I've done a bunch of startups. I've raised money a couple of times. That's not a boast, it's relevant to what I'm doing. And I've also had a ton of failures. What I'm currently working on is a business called Get Replied. But this is just, I guess, like a prop to start yelling at you all about doing computer science and stop like YOLOing your projects. Anyway, what this does is I was talking to the investor in my last company, and he told me he had 60,000 unread emails, and I'm like, dude, you can't live like this. And I thought I could solve this for him, because like, how hard could it be to build a little like LLM that reads your emails, whatever. It's super hard actually to get it right, because what we actually do for him, and this is an Outlook. Who uses Outlook? He does. This works in Gmail as well, he gives us his investment criteria. We read all the pitches that come in. We assess it. If it's a match, we say, okay, great, looks good. We'd like to take this a bit further in setting up this account. I said, for example, upload a 2-minute video here, but that can be anything we want. And if it is a fail, for example, so like, it doesn't meet our investment criteria, we can say, hey, look, not for us, but we can also set up, and this, I'm kind of proud of this, is little like referrals. Hey, like, you might want to talk to these guys instead. So look, that's just a bad looking test email that I've spammed myself with. But yeah, so this is it. It's headless. Which is the cool way to build stuff now, but if you want, you can kind of go in and verify everything. And it's the verification that I kind of want to like yell at you all about. So it's super easy to get a LLM to give you convincing sounding output. 100% of the time, an LLM will give you output that it sounds about right. And I think a lot of builders stop there. Like, they just YOLO it. They're like, yeah, cool, sounds about right. Let's launch this. And honestly, like, stop doing that, please. Like, have a hypothesis that you're going to test. Have a corpus of test data that you're going to test against, and then launch your thing and see what actually happens. So what I did when I built this is I went out and got like as many real pitch emails, including a bunch that I'd sent to investors myself and from the investors I'd worked previously, and then built out a corpus of emails that I knew should pass the criteria, knew should have a review, knew would fail, and also a bunch which were like malicious. So like prompt injections, malicious code, phishing, this kind of stuff. And then I knew what the results should be, and then I ran it against the kind of like, LLM, I think I was using ChatGPT, give me the reviews. And it came up with an answer for 100% of them about why it thought it was right. But when I actually evaluated against what I knew the answer should be, it was 47% correct. So like a coin flip. So went through like a whole bunch of iterations before I finally hit 100%. And I just want to touch on what they were. So first, I was like, okay, I'm just going to build a little like engine that LLM can pick out all the criteria, put it in a schema. For each enum, we can just pass it to Python as like a Boolean, true, false. Okay, great, cool, that's the result. It doesn't work. Because founders like to exaggerate, and like the language you need is really hard. We had failures, like people would say, I don't want to invest in defense. And then a founder email might say, I'm in defense tech, and then that would slip through. So that's like a failure mode that was like super duper common. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'll build like a domain specific library, and like started building it out and building it out and building it out, and it just gets too big. It's totally impractical. So I'm like, cool, I'll prompt my way out of this. And then I got like prompt and like edge case and prompt and edge case and prompt and edge case, and topped out at about 70% success rate. But there's a certain level with prompting where anything you put in, you just introduce another failure mode. So like another way for the LLM to misinterpret. So okay, like throw that out. Okay, cool. Next one was few shot examples. So like this is what good looks like, this is what bad looks like, this is, you know, all these kind of edge cases. And that was pretty good. Along with prompting, I got rid of about 500 lines of prompt and replaced with just a few small, like, you know, examples, and we got to, I think, about 76% there. So still not good enough. And like I know Simone and Sergey, yeah, would have figured this out already. And like I'm embarrassed it took me so long in this process. The answer is structured output. Okay. Anthropic and OpenAI have a standard SDK for this. And essentially what it is instead of saying, hey, here's some input, LLM, pretty please give me a JSON back, it flips it, and you define a JSON schema, and the harness around the model hides any token that doesn't appear in your schema, so that the LLM can only return structured data. And so this is really good, because now I can actually trace where every bit of analysis happens, and I can fix my errors. And again, I'm testing it against that corpus. I know what my answer should be, so I can find my deltas and like really narrow it down. And then the final thing that I want to share with you guys about that structured data is the ordering. So when you are using structured output, the ordering is really important. If you ask for the verdict first, in my case, or I'm asking if like review, pass, fail, it will do that. And then no matter what the evidence says, it delivers that verdict. And this is a really, really common failure mode that I found in the prompting and the few shot examples. So the LLMs process the tokens in the order that is delivered to them. So if the first bit of information indicates that this is like pass or a fail, it really like it sticks to that verdict, even if all the subsequent information invalidates it. So with your structured output, you can say that you have to do this first, you have to do this first, you have to do this first, and now you take all those inputs and give the final assessment. And so that's basically the output that we're seeing here. But yeah, that's it. I just want to get on my soapbox. Stop YOLOing. Do science. Do science. Have a hypothesis. Test it and iterate. And importantly, have your logs to back it up, because otherwise you're just guessing and your customer's going to have a terrible result. Thank you.
Well, that's super cool. I mean, incredible stuff. I have lots of questions, but I'll just focus on one. Which data did you consider when the email is coming in? Obviously, the body of the email, subject line, and what was in the email? I assume there's going to be some kind of attachment, and it's probably going to be semi-less structured, right? So then that would be interesting to know. And then the other part is like, so you were building an algorithm, you're defining it. At what point, and you find it to be various, and at what point do you feel like we passed the point of value, and then now we're just pushing the numbers around? Like we change what we want, like we change the stuff that's like, meaning like there's the data that you have, and you can't get more.
Yeah.
But, AI will obviously try to overcomplicate to a point where it's like goes in one direction or another direction.
Totally.
How do you find a line of we're going to stop here?
I'm going to answer your first question really quickly because I'm more interested in your second question, and I'm here to entertain myself. So the answer to the first question is I just let them in natural language tell me what they want, like, and then I just automatically build that into a schema. But the second question is one of my bugbears. We all know that LLMs are like token generation machines, and that's what they want to do. And so at the end of every output from Claude or whatever model you're using, it'll be like, hey, here's 5 other things that we could do. And I have these 3 questions, and I want you to clarify this. And have you thought about like way overbuilding this feature over here, right? And you'll go to, if you're just like, oh yeah, that is a good idea, because again, they're really good at giving convincing output. You end up going down these rabbit holes, you end up over-engineering things, you end up adding failure modes that you don't need, lines of code that you don't need, like overhead, complexity, like all this stuff. This is the whole point, and I don't know, maybe we telepathically talked about this. But yeah, the only way, have a hypothesis, have a corpus of data that you're going to test that hypothesis against, and then when the LLM outputs, whether it's like the feature, the function, or the entire program, run that program against the data, and you know what the output should be. If you hit the number that you need to hit, so maybe like 95% like accuracy is fine. Maybe you need 100%, right? Like, Don't ask Claude if you finish coding, because the answer is always no, and here's 15 other things you could do. Like, your data is what you need to use to decide when you're done, when you've finished coding.
Just a quick one. If you experimented with other LLM models in terms of accuracy, how did you do token optimization? And the last question I was going to ask was, well, I think that's fine.
Yeah, so this is I'm actually using OpenAI in the background of this, and that's just like inertia, because this is what I started building in terms of token minimization. Also, like structured output's really good for that, because it's JSON, it's super bare bones. It can only do what you allow it to do. Like it can't get any tokens outside of the library that you allow it. So it's super efficient in terms of token consumption, as well as accurate in output.